Today I will be installing a dash cam into a 2023 Kia Carnival. I bought this unit off Amazon. It is an AnySky M5. I believe it's how you pronounce it, AnySky, maybe AnySky. It is a 3-channel dash cam, which means it has 3 modes of recording. It has a front camera. It also has a rear-facing camera to record the inside of the vehicle and a rear camera that records the rear of the vehicle. My wife drives for a living, and you know, with all the insurance scams going on, you got people cutting each other off in traffic, people swerving in front of everybody, slamming on brakes, trying to get some of that insurance money. I figured this is a must-have, especially for her profession. So this unit actually comes with a charger, but I'm going to be hardwiring it so it'll be on all the time. It does have a, it comes with a hotspot, so you can log into you can actually connect to the camera's hotspot and see the video footage. You can see it in live mode. You can actually go back and look at videos if you need to find something. If you witnessed a wreck and you want to download the videos and send them to a person that was involved. But when you do connect to the hotspot, you will not have cellular access because the camera only has Wi-Fi hotspot. Sorry, but it does not have cellular doesn't have internet access. So if you can, the entire time you're connected to the hotspot, you will not have cellular access. So anybody that calls you or texts you, it will not come through. But other than that, I'm gonna get into the video. All right, I'm going to take this piece off. I'm gonna mount the camera like right in here. And I don't think it will interfere with the drive assist system. And even if it does, I mean, it's trash anyway, so we really don't even use it. But I have cleaned the windshield off with alcohol to remove any grease, and I will have to put the electrostatic plastic on first before I mount the camera. But I'm going to remove this. If I can. There we go. There we go. And I broke 2 of the little bristles off because I'm going to run the wires up through here so I can keep this piece on. And I don't want to run the wires around the side of it. I want to kind of hide them as much as I can. And once I do get them, the camera mounted, I'm going to run the wires up along this piece and down my A-pillar. Some people run them up up here. I'm not going to do that because of the airbags, and I don't want to I don't want to be worried about the airbags and if I have the wires in front of the bag, because you know, if you put the wires in front of the airbags and they may not deploy correctly if you have a wreck. So I'm just going to run my wires down along the floor panels. So I have mounted the dash cam, and I ran my cables through that gap up through I tucked them in the headliner. Tuck them back a little bit better. Tucked them in the headliner, and I ran them down the A-pillar. Zip ties, got to cut these off. Just showing you where I ran them down the A-pillar, and then they go down the side. They are tucked in behind the dash, and finally I had to pull this piece out to get those to go back, and from there I will probably mount these somewhere underneath here to keep them out of the way. But from here I will hardwire them into the fuse panel. The rest of it I'm going to run through, like I said, through the floor trim. I could run them through the headliner or up the side, but this thing, it has curtain airbags all the way back, and I don't want to deal. It's a pain to actually get everything routed behind the airbags, because you can't really just tuck them back, because can't just tuck them in because they'll be in the way of the airbags when they deploy, and basically they will prevent the airbags from deploying correctly. So I'm going to actually just run them down through the floor panels. I have to order an extension cable for the rear mounted dash cam, but it's just an extra $7 after taxes. So I'll probably have to wrap this thing up on another day, but as for right now, that's what I'm doing. Again, I'm running it through the floor panel instead of the the headliner because of the side curtain airbags, and it's just a lot. I would have to remove a lot of these panels, and there's a screw in here that I have to take. It's like, I think it's a Phillips head screw. Have to take it out and pop this panel down. But just to get this panel off right here, it was a pain, because this clip right here, when you pop this panel off, it doesn't come all the way out. It comes back just far enough for you to get a tool up in there. But basically what it is these pieces right here, they hook into the hole. So you have to take something like a pick. I use a flathead screwdriver and actually pushed in on this right here. And if you push in, if you notice, if you push in on the pin, it'll release from that hole. So that's basically what you have to do. You have to pop the A panel loose. Then you're gonna have to take something like a pick. I use a Phillips flathead screwdriver, and I pushed in on this, and that was just enough to pop that piece of loose. And then at the bottom of the A pillar, there is the tweeter connect, and I just popped that loose and removed it so I could route my my dash cam wires down the A pillar to the fuse box. This is what I was talking about before. I have now put the A pillar back in. I reconnected the tweeter cable, and as you can see right now, that's as far as that'll come out. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said you have to actually pop this out, and then you have to kind of come in behind the airbag, and right there get a Phillips head screwdriver or a pick, and you have to actually push that in, and when you push that in, it'll release that, so you can actually take the A pillar completely out. So go ahead and snug that back up. Now I'm gonna put my weather stripping back. Alright, weather stripping is back. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to finish running this cable to the back of the car. Alright, just to recap, I routed my wires down through the A panel, down the weather stripping. I went underneath this panel. I tucked the wire back behind this. I've got it running through here, and I've got it running, I tucked it underneath this part, and it's running all the way to the back of the car. And then once I got back here, this piece right here is held on. There's a Phillips head screw that screws in here, and on the other side there's a Phillips head screw, and then this whole piece just pops out. Once you get that out, these are held in. This is held in by clips, so just be careful. But you pop it loose with a pry tool, or you can use your hands, but just be careful. And then once you get up to the top, it's held. This is a 10mm bolt. Once you get that out, I ran the wire up through here. I very carefully, I just kind of pulled this down and fished my wire through. But if you want to be safe, you can go ahead, you can pop this out. It'll give you a lot more room to work with. But I didn't do that. I kind of pulled my weather stripping back, and I popped this. I pulled it down very gently. I fished my wire through, came out through this hole, and I've got the end of it taped, and I fished a zip tie. I taped one end of the video cable to the big end of the zip tie, and then I fished it through to this side, and I'm going to see if I can pull my wire through. I may have to pause it. Alright, I got my wire through. Like I said, I taped this end to the zip tie, to the big end of the zip tie, and I just pulled it through the grommet. And once I get it all the way, all right. Now the next step is I'm gonna have to pop this piece off, because this is where my dash cam is gonna sit, right up in here. I really don't want it to sit right here because I don't know if that right there is gonna cause issues. I would prefer to install it down here, but my cable's not long enough. I don't have enough of a cable to install it down here, so I'm gonna have to put it up here, just underneath the rear spoiler and the brake light. All right, this piece, it pops off as well. It's held in by these little plastic pieces. So that is how it's in there. I just pried it out with my fingers. And from here, I'm gonna come out one of these sides, maybe this side, and then my dash cam is gonna sit right here. All right, and now it is time for this piece to go back in. Notice these pieces at the bottom, they just kind of hook into the frame of the car. See down here, they basically just hook onto those pieces. But my carpet is scrunched up, so alright, so now I'm just gonna make sure I got all my hooks down inside these pieces. 2, 3, and 4. Alright. And then of course my weather stripping tucks over, or maybe it doesn't. So make sure that's all flush. And then my 2 Phillips head screws, one goes here and the other goes there. Alright, now back to this camera. I've taped it up to protect it. I'm gonna zip tie it right here to this. So we don't have any excess hanging down. And then I'll get back with you. Alright, this is the rear facing camera. I have to plug it in to this piece, and I'm actually going to tape it to make sure that it does not come loose. But yeah, I got to clean the windshield off and put my electrostatic tape up there, and it will basically sit on the windshield like this. So I know I can't plug this up with one hand, so I'm gonna have to pause the video. Yeah, basically what you want to do is you want to line your arrows up. Yeah, you want to line your 2 arrows up and make sure it is plugged all the way in. And then, like I said, I'm going to tape this to make sure that it does not come apart. Alright, I've got it zip tied. Now I just want to cut off the excess. Alright, and now I'm going to place the panel back on. Alright, everything else has been buttoned up. I put my sides back on. I put this piece back on along the trunk edge. I put my grommet back in. And now I'm ready to clip this piece back on. that piece is now back in. Now the only thing I have to do is I have to actually mount the camera. I gotta clean this windshield off first and actually wire my camera up to the fuse box. So stay tuned. Alright, I have my fuse taps soldered up. This particular kit requires 2 because you have a 12 volt ignition and a 12 volt constant ignition, and the yellow is constant, but I have seen them on some other brands. Depending on which brand you have, the yellow is actually 12 volt ignition, and the red will be constant, and the black will be ground, of course. So now I have to figure out which fuse I'm going to tap in the fuse box. But I know I'm going to, for the ignition, I'm going to use the USB port. I don't know which one I'm going to use for the constant just yet. There are a few empty slots in there. I'm going to see what those slots are for, and I may tap one of those. Okay, so this 15 amp fuse right here is going to be 12 volt ignition, and that is the USB charger fuse. And this 10 amp fuse right here is going to be a constant. This is a 12 volt constant. So I'm going to put the yellow wire, I'm going to tap this one with the yellow wire, and I'm going to tap this one with the red wire. And I just have to make sure that I turn my fuse taps the correct way. One side is typically, for the 12 volt, I just have to figure out which side is the right, the hot side, because if I put it in backwards, then it will not give me the protection that they're designed to give. So I have to make sure I turn the actual fuse tap the right way. Alright, I got my fuse taps in, my ignition and constant. Over here is my ground wire. It's right there on that, I believe there's a 13 millimeter, no, it's actually a 12 millimeter. I grounded it to that location. And I have my, when I did my test with my multimeter, the actual bottom prong of the fuse is the hot side. So I turned my fuse taps down because the hot side, the first pin, the pin that's furthest away from the wire, is the way this is supposed to be wired up. Now the fuse goes in the, you have 2 fuse blocks within the tap, and the original fuse goes in the front, and whatever you're powering goes in the back. And that's pretty much it. You just got to make sure you turn them the correct way, or they will not provide the protection that they are supposed to provide. This way the circuit is protected the way it's supposed to be. That's pretty much it for a dash cam install for the hardwire. I mean, of course, you could just use the USB charger that comes with it. You could even hide the wires if you want to, but I just choose to hardwire it so I don't have to worry about it plugging it in or unplugging it and forgetting to plug it back in. So this has been another DIY project. DIY out.